Hey guys, welcome to another Gauging Gadgets review video. In this video, I'll be doing a review of the Vivomove HR after having had it for about 48 hours. So in this review, we'll start out with showing you what it was included in the box, then I'll do a quick comparison with the Garmin Instinct and the Forerunner 230, and then we'll go into my experience after using this watch for about 2 days. Before we get started, I just want to say that you'll see that the display looks like it's flickering a lot. It does not look like that with your eye, it's just an effect that the camera is having because of the type of screen. Alright, so let's go in and get started. The first thing I want to do is just quickly show you that in the box you get a quick start guide, and then you get a charging cable. This charging cable is actually the same one that is used for the Garmin Forerunner 230, 235, and I think 645. So that's great. You could use this with multiple watches if you did have other watches from Garmin. So now that I've shown you what was in the box, let's go ahead and talk about the way this looks and then compare it to the Garmin Instinct and the Forerunner 230. So in my opinion, this is a beautiful looking watch. Garmin did a really good job of making sure that it had that kind of classic professional look to it while still being sporty enough with a nice hidden screen that's easy to read and also use. It's pretty cool. They've been able to hide this screen in the face of the watch while still allowing it to be an analog watch. I like that a lot. I think it's really cool. And this is great for when you're at work or when you're going out somewhere and you want to look professional but still have the smart functions from Garmin and a little bit of activity tracking as well. The version I have is kind of the slate bezel, and I think it looks really good with the yellow that's on the watch face, including the minute hand. I did find that the hour hand is somewhat hard to read. From an angle you can kind of see it, it reflects, but from straight above it can be really hard to see a little bit. But I think that that's just something to get used to. I'm actually not used to having an analog watch, so it's been interesting, and it's actually embarrassing how long it takes me to figure out what time it is. The band on this watch is extremely comfortable. It's very flexible and soft, but also durable and very easy to remove. All you need to do is push that pin back and it'll slide right off, and then you can put another watch band on. This is actually the same watch band that is used on the Vivoactive 3 and Vivoactive 3 Music, so that means that there should be a really good supply of new bands online if you need to get them. Now the Vivomove HR obviously has a heart rate monitor on the back, and I was very surprised with how low this is. It does not stick out too far. You're not going to have a big indentation in your arm, and I've had no pain from this at all as well. It's an extremely lightweight and comfortable watch, and I think that that's one of the things that they really wanted to get out of this. Alright, so the first comparison we're going to do is going to be with the Garmin Instinct. As you can see, the watch face is similar in size, but the thickness is really going to be the difference here. The Garmin Instinct is much thicker, it has that big bezel on it, and you do not have any buttons on the Vivomove HR. It's completely touchscreen. Comparing it with the Garmin Forerunner 230 or 235, the size is actually very similar, with the Forerunner 230 being a little bit bigger as well, and the thickness being almost exactly the same. But as you can see, the Vivomove HR is a much better looking watch still. Then I also want to give you a quick look of what it looks like on my wrist. I do have larger wrists, so I'm actually surprised with how good this looks. It seems to fit very well. It doesn't look tiny or like I'm wearing a child's watch, which I was a little bit worried about. So I'm very happy with the way this looks and the way it fits my wrist. Alright, so now that I've shown you what's in the box and I've done a quick comparison with 2 other Garmin watches, let's get into my experience over the last 2 days. So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual display and the touch screen. So there's really only a few ways to actually interact with the watch. So the first is going to be at a glance, where you turn the watch up towards you. It actually turns on the display and you can program what it shows, which is pretty cool. Then you can do swiping to get into the actual menus and widgets. From there, if you do a long press, it'll bring you into the settings and other menus, and then you can do double taps and different things like that to start activities. So it's really not that bad, it just takes some getting used to, especially when you're coming from other watches that have buttons, or like the Vivoactive 3, which is a very big touch screen that even has a button. But overall, I do like the way the display looks. It's a little bit hazy, and I'm not sure if you can pick that up. I don't know if that's because it's coming through the glass, but it's easy to read. Even in really bright sunlight, it has an automatic mode with the brightness, and I like to leave it on that because it kind of saves battery. But in direct sunlight, I found that I was able to read what it said with no issues at all. Now, one issue I did have with the touchscreen so far, I've gone swimming twice and I did some laps in the pool, and I tried to do an activity. They don't have a swim activity, so that's a little bit disappointing. But things kept getting selected on the touchscreen while I was swimming. So I would start an activity, it would end the activity, or even turn off Bluetooth. Different weird things were happening in the settings because I was swimming with this watch. So I don't think that that's something that you'd want to do with this. One of the things I was actually very surprised with this watch is that all of the activities are very, very limited. So they do have walk, they have run, they have cardio activity, strength training, and then other. And this is what I was trying to use with swimming. and I was unsuccessful with it. So really limited activities. You're not going to have anything with yoga or rowing a boat or anything like that. It's going to be, or even hiking, which was kind of surprising. You're just going to have those different activities such as running, walking, and then doing some cardio or even strength training. One thing though, while you might get some random button presses and different things selected on the watch if you're using it in the water, I did find that in the shower it works great. I was using the music controls in the shower to change songs on my phone, and that wasn't a problem at all. But like I said, it just takes a little bit of getting used to with the touchscreen and how to use it. Another area where I found that this watch was a little bit lacking so far, just in my 2 days of testing, is with the tracking. So sleep tracking and step tracking. Sleep tracking, I found that it does a good job of figuring out when I wake up in the morning. But when it comes to actually figuring out when I go to sleep, so far the last 2 days it's been completely off. The first night it said I went to bed an hour after I went to sleep, and then last night it said I went to bed 30 minutes before I went to sleep. So I'm not sure if that's something they're going to fix. This watch has been out for over a year now, and that still seems to be an issue. Step tracking I found also to be inaccurate. I've had 5 different Garmin watches, all the way starting back to the first Vivo smartwatch, and all of them seem to be pretty accurate. They've actually gotten more accurate as the software has gotten better. But this one seems to count steps randomly all the time. I could be waving my hands and get a step goal. It's kind of disappointing how inaccurate this watch is with the step counts. So really, to me, I'm not sure how much I really like this watch going forward. I think it's better for a really nice looking watch that has some smart technology such as music control, texting, but when it comes to activity tracking or even sleep tracking, it seems to lack in some of those areas. So that was my quick 48-hour review of the Vivomove HR. Going forward, I plan to do several tutorials on this watch just to help people get a better understanding of how to use it and how it works. I'll also be doing a complete overview going through all of the menus and the settings, everything like that, in the next 30 days. If you have any questions about the Vivomove HR, leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Check the description below because I'll have links to all the Vivomove HR videos that I make. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel, Gauging Gadgets, more gadget reviews and tech tutorials. Thank you so much for watching.